more tech moment. Krebs warns of Iran cyber attack. In response to reports of an increase in cybersecurity threats, the Department of Homeland Security's Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, Director Christopher C. Krebs issued the following statement, quote, CISA is aware of a recent rise in malicious cyber activity directed at United States industries and government agencies by Iranian regime actors and proxies. We will continue to work with our intelligence community and cybersecurity partners to monitor Iranian cyber activity, share information, and take steps to keep America and our allies safe. Iranian regime actors and proxies are increasingly using destructive wiper attacks, looking to do much more than just steal data and money. These efforts are often enabled through common tactics like spear phishing, password spraying, and credential stuffing. What might start as an account compromise where you think you might just lose data can quickly become a situation where you've lost your whole network. In times like these, it's important to make sure you've shored up your basic defenses, like using multi-factor authentication, and if you suspect an incident, take it seriously and act quickly. You can find other tips and best practices for staying safe online at the website. This article and more alerts can be found at Homeland Security's Cyber Plus Infrastructure website. The link is on the blog, as well as an email address that you can contact in case you think that you might have been compromised. John Fingus writes, U.S. may require companies make 5G equipment outside of China. The U.S. isn't just skittish about American companies using equipment from Chinese companies in their 5G networks. It might force companies to avoid Chinese involvement altogether. The Wall Street Journal sources claim that the Trump administration is considering a requirement that 5G cellular gear for the U.S. must be designed and made outside of China. To that end, officials are reportedly asking telecom firms if they can produce U.S.-oriented equipment elsewhere. The talks are in early and informal phases, the tipsters said. However, the executive order that dictates a review of the telecom supply chain is asking for proposed rules by an October deadline. There isn't much time for things to change, even if any rules wouldn't take effect for a while. The White House has declined to comment. You can read the rest of this article over at Engadget. Lisa Voss writes, Facebook posts reveal your hidden illnesses, say researchers. Does your stomach hurt? Do you tell your friends on Facebook? If so, researchers suggest there is a possibility you might be suffering from depression, and there's a good chance that you could be diagnosed months earlier if they were to analyze your social media posts than if they just went by clinical diagnosis alone. In a study from Penn Medicine and Stony Brook University that was published in PLOS One, researchers claim that they can diagnose someone based on their social media posts, given that the language people use can point to conditions such as diabetes, anxiety, depression, and psychosis. In their paper, the researchers described using natural language processing to analyze 949,530 Facebook posts made by 999 study participants for a total of 20 million words or more, each post containing at least 500 words. They looked for markers of 21 medical conditions, and they found that all of them were predictable from Facebook language beyond mere lucky guesses. Some of those medical conditions were particularly easy to predict using a combination of demographics and Facebook language versus just going by demographics alone, namely diabetes, pregnancy, anxiety, psychoses, and depression. One example of how language can strongly predict a diagnosis is alcohol abuse. Alcohol abuse was marked by use of the words drink, drunk, and bottle, they said. That's a pretty intuitive diagnosis, but other predictions weren't so obvious. For example, people who use the words God, family, and pray are 15 times more likely to have been diagnosed with diabetes. There are several correlations between language and disease, the claim goes. Find out what they are over at Sophos Naked Security blog. Would you link your Facebook to your medical profile so doctors can review it? What if it's already happened? Just a reminder, correlation is not the same thing as causation. Also, Facebook is monitoring everything for their own purposes, and it's not a social experience. Evelyn Chang writes, Beijing wants the U.S. to stop inappropriate actions against Chinese firms. The Chinese government would like the U.S. to cancel inappropriate actions against Chinese companies, Vice Commerce Minister Wang Shouwen said Monday. The U.S. Commerce Department on Friday added 5 Chinese technology companies to the so-called Entity List that effectively prohibits them from buying parts from American companies. We hope the U.S. side, under the principles of free trade and the spirit of World Trade Organization principles, can cancel these inappropriate measures against Chinese companies and remove them from the Entity List. This has benefits for both sides, Wang said in Mandarin, according to a CNBC translation. He was speaking at a press conference Monday morning about Chinese President Xi Jinping's upcoming trip to the G20 summit at the end of this week in Osaka, Japan. The latest U.S. actions come after Chinese telecom and smartphone giant Huawei was added to the Entity List in May, and after President Donald Trump and Xi held a phone call last Tuesday about plans to meet at the G20 summit. U.S. and Chinese stock indices rallied after the news of the call in hopes the world's 2 largest economies would soon reach an agreement on a trade dispute that has lasted for more than a year and roiled global equity markets as well as fueled concerns about economic growth worldwide. Markets are moving. There's much more to this article over at CNBC. Charlie Osborne writes, User data stolen from human hacking forum social engineered, published on rival site. A forum dedicated to the art of social engineering, social engineered, has been compromised and its users' data leaked on a rival website. The data breach occurred on June 13, 2019. The details of the forum users, including 89,000 unique email addresses linked to 55,000 forum account holders, usernames, IP addresses, and passwords stored as salted MD5 hashes were published and leaked online. In addition, private messages sent by users were also included in the data dump, according to Have I Been Pwned. The information has been added to the data leak search engine. The forum has since moved from open source to a professional hosting platform. You can read more about this story over at ZDNet. Also, it appears that other brands, not just Dell, are affected by support software installed before consumers open the box. You can see who else is affected by the PC Doctor problem from an article at safebreach.com. Help me out by thumbing this up or give it claps or telling people or sharing it on social media, please. I would appreciate it. Politics may be married to technology and big media, but sometimes individuals can make a difference. Get the Dirty Deeds Playbook today for just $2.99 on Kindle or for a few dollars more in paperback. This satirical field manual uses fools and fanatics to sow chaos on American elections. Tools and techniques, observations, and deception I've seen in the election process over these past few years. Support this news aggregation service by checking out my website at yourtechmoment.com today. Links there show all the places you can listen or watch for free. Also, find out about my other projects, subscribe to my newsletter and alerts, or buy books, advertise, and support this project with some merchandise purchases. Have a great day.